Hey you guys, good morning. So today we're talking about the 3 top tips I came up with for weight loss when I was asked completely out of the blue. So I want to give you a little background as to how this actually happened. So most of you know I'm newer to Nashville. I've been here for about a year now, and it's very hard to make friends when you are literally in a pandemic. So I literally picked up a friend while I was giving blood. We were just chatting, had a great conversation. I was like, listen, okay, I'm married to a man, but you seem lovely, and I'm in the market for friends. She's totally cool. So we hung out, and this was about a month and a half ago now. I was going to go indoor rock climbing. She texted me what I was doing that afternoon. I was like, why don't you come? So we were just having a good time, kind of climbing around, and she has nothing to do with what I do. The conversation was not about health and fitness and weight loss, and we weren't talking about jobs. We were just chatting, and it went toward work. And so she genuinely just asked, she's like, coming from someone who literally had no interest in, being a client, like we're just trying to be friends, she was like, what would you say like your top 3 tips for weight loss would be? Just genuinely, like no background. And I was literally halfway up a rock climbing wall. And I was like, I'm used to just talking to people who want to lose weight, or I'm on here, so, I'm like super in the mode or whatever. And, we have a topic, we're talking about, nutrition, we're talking about macros, we're talking about calories, we're talking about exercise, we're talking about sleep, stress management, whatever, but just completely out of the blue, not talking about it. It was like, what would you say like your top 3 things if someone wanted to lose weight, what they would be? And she genuinely was not asking for herself. And I was like, let me think about it. It was interesting to me that I didn't have like a go-to, you need this, this, and this. And I'm like, this is a very interesting question, because you see these things all over social media, like your top 5, like exercise to build booty, the top blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, everything is with like a grain of salt. So I'm like, well, if you have trouble activating your glutes, that exercise is actually just going to go after your hamstrings, but great try. So the top 3 tips I came up with for weight loss I wanted to share with you guys, and I reflected on this a lot because it struck me funny that I didn't have like a go-to answer, and I actually came up with 5 tips. I'm sharing 3 with you here today, and email subscribers only are getting those final 2 that I came up with. So email subscribers are getting all 5 tips. There is a link in my bio. If you are not already a subscriber, you have literally until noon today to click it, otherwise you won't miss out. But the top 3 things I came up with when I literally just kind of like came back down the rock climbing wall. I'm like, well, let me think about this for a second. My first one is come to terms that it is going to take longer than you want. It sucks. The weight always comes on faster than you can realistically lose it. So you just got to think about it though. So any diet you've tried that has literally just dropped your weight drastically. I mean, like I was on a call yesterday and she was like, yeah, I tried one of those things. I lost like 20 pounds in a month. That came back quick. I was like, damn, like yikes. So the faster you lose it, if you have no game plan, the faster it's going to come back on. I promise. It totally sucks. So play the long game. Yes, you can be pissed about it. You can be frustrated. You can be annoyed that you're not like dropping pound after pound after pound, day after day after day. But if you're seeing the needle move the direction you want, the scale on general is trending the direction you want. The measurements you're taking are trending the direction you want. Maybe your jeans, you don't have to do one of these as hard when you get them out of the dryer. We've all been there. You're going the right direction. It is going to be slow and steady, but if you're actually serious about keeping these results, what other option is there? So you start to see results and it's going a little bit slow, so you get all huffy and you stop and you make sure that you don't get any more results, or you just suck it up and keep going. Yes, there is a such thing as too slow. And that's where a coach comes in to be like, all right, no, we need to dial up things. Like this is not moving as quickly as we would like. There's also such thing as too fast. But if things seem to be moving steadily the direction you want to go, even if it's not, what's the thing that like Operation Warp Speed or whatever, even if it's not as fast as you want, if it's going the right direction, you just got to hang in there. If you are serious about literally changing your physique, changing your body, come to terms with it's going to be slower than you would like. Of course it's going to be. What actually happened quickly that was worth it? I mean, when you like want to get a degree, when I was studying to be a physical therapist, a kid asked me when I was in my final clinical what grade I was in. He was in 3rd grade, and I was like, well, he doesn't understand grad school, so I counted. I was in 19th grade at the time. That was horrifying. That didn't come fast. I did not just like, boom, physical therapist. It took a very long time and dedication, and it took commitment in those moments that I wanted to quit more than ever. That's how you get successful in a weight loss journey, because it's a big deal. So you have to treat it as such and just keep going. If you're mad it's not going as fast as you want, but it's still moving, you have one option if you want to accomplish your goals. Keep going. If you bail out way too early, you will never accomplish anything, and then you don't even get to say, nothing works for me, I tried that. If you tried it for 2 weeks, you did not try that. That doesn't count. That was tip 1. Patience, my friends. Patience. Tip number 2, the basics work. There is two things actually, that has never changed ever in a weight loss journey. And when it comes to, any new fad diet, any whatever, is healthy eating and exercise should be part of it. It does not have to be that complicated, especially if you are a clean slate. If you're coming in like, maybe you've just been overeating for a while, a little more indulgent, or you're just not really exercising much, you're a blank slate. Literally just sharpening up your diet, maybe getting some more dietary protein, cutting back on the fats. That's a really common trend we see, is a lot of processed carbs and fats. Not a whole lot of protein. Sometimes if you just workshop your diet to include some lean protein, God forbid you put something green on your plate, and you start exercising a little bit more. Literally, go on a walk. Ride the elliptical for a little bit. Do some basic weight training. Like, what is wrong with a bicep curl and a squat and a hamstring curl machine? You do not need to do like curtsy lunges, flipsy, dipsy, doodle, like Hank flanks, like all these things you see at the gym. Like, I see people at the gym, I'm like, oh my, are you gonna hurt yourself? Like, I would hurt myself if I did that. And I don't even know what you're aiming for. If the exercise is that complicated, you probably don't need to do it. Stick to the basics. They work. It's boring, but they work. So wouldn't you rather do something that works, that you know how to do well, than try and learn something new and it's so complicated, but you're just doing the thing that's trending and like super cool, and like that girl on Instagram, I mean, her ass was fabulous and she does those, so I mean, I have to do those. You're going to spend so much time trying to figure out how the hell to do it when you could just start doing the basics and actually get somewhere. The basics work. So you don't need to be in a rush to make things really fancy, because there's just no need, and it's wasted time, wasted energy. And as we covered in like tip number 1, you don't want to be wasting time. You just want to start seeing results, because it's going to take longer than you want. So why don't you just start doing things to get results instead of trying to learn how the girl hanging upside down got those abs? Food for thought. So patience, ladies. Number 1, patience. 2, basics. The basics freaking work. Trust me. And number 3, play the long game. So I'm not just talking about patience. I'm talking about if you are actually serious about losing weight and you really don't want to put it back on, because then why the hell would you lose it to begin with? If you have no intention of changing any of your long-term habits once you lose the weight, it is not an if. It's a when the weight will be coming back on. I promise. Again, sucks, but it's true. If you go right back to your old habits, those are the habits that gave you the body that you wanted to change in the first place. So if you develop some new habits and you implement them and you're like, oh yeah, I'm losing weight, and you get to the point where you're like, damn, you want to put on the bikini, you are just a little bit more comfortable, you don't mind, your significant other walking in and you're like, oh, whoops, look what you got to see. If you're just getting more comfortable, don't you want to keep that? Absolutely. Otherwise you wouldn't have tried a diet in the first place. So if you want to actually keep that, because I know you do, you've got to take pieces of the diet that you were able to use successfully. You don't have to be as structured and as rigid forever, I promise, but you need to keep, regular exercise, putting some green shit on your plate, prioritizing protein, drink your goddamn water. If you just literally completely go back to like, yay, got the body, and go back to all the old habits that got you to the body you wanted to change anyway, again, they're going to take you the same direction, maybe faster, because your body's a little bit freaked out because you just dieted. So you gotta stay patient. You have no other option. If you want to lose weight, even if it's slower than you would like, at least it's going the right direction. So just keep going. Promise, it's working. 2, Stick to the basics. Stop trying to get so complicated and buying like every powder, supplement, tea, or whatever that you can't even pronounce on Amazon because, again, some like super fabulous person on Instagram just swears by it. Stick to the basics, stay patient, and be willing to change some long-term habits if you are serious about once you get in those jeans, you get to stay in those jeans. Otherwise, you're going to go back to where you started because that's what got you there in the first place. It's not being mean. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, like 2 days before Christmas. Oh my God. But just want you guys to be realistic. Who was I talking to? I was talking to someone on Instagram here lately, and I was like, we were kind of joking. I'm like, the new year is like every fitness trainer, weight loss coach is like, this is our Super Bowl. I was hoarse by the end of the day yesterday. I was on so many calls, and I'm filling up through like mid-January. It's an awesome problem to have. I'm not complaining about being hoarse by the end of the day, but I'm like, this is when everybody wants to lose weight. It's just part of our culture, like New Year, resolutions. I'm going to start it off right. You're super motivated. So I wanted to talk about these things before you started dieting, before you started, January 1, or maybe you want to wait till Monday, which I think is January 4th, because a new year and a Monday, let's just talk about how big of a deal that day is. You got to start with the right mindset. Otherwise, before January 30th, you're already thinking, fuck this. It was way too slow. I saw her on Instagram lose 10 pounds this month. I lost 2.5. What the hell? And then you get mad, and then you get huffy, and then you stop doing everything, and then you go get the Cheetos, and then you wonder why next year you're setting the same New Year's resolution. Because you weren't patient. You were trying to get too fancy, too fast. You were annoyed, and you had no intention of changing your habits. It's really, really simple for the vast majority of you. There are some of you that we do need to make things a little bit more complicated with really significant dieting histories or really, really aggressive goals. That's awesome. Totally fine. But if you just want to lose some goddamn weight, stop overcomplicating things and be willing to put in the work and wait for it to take some time. Good things take time. It is what it is. So those are my top 3 tips I'm sharing with you. And that's what I came up with my friend when she asked me out of the blue, what are your top 3 tips for weight loss? I was like, you got to stay patient, stick to the basics. And if you don't change your habits, you will never, ever keep what you accomplished. I did come up with 2 more. 2 more? That's a weird way to do that. 1, 2, I don't know. But if you click the link in my bio, if you're not already an email subscriber, you will get those too. If you're not an email subscriber and you don't get to click the link in my bio before noon, sorry, you don't get those other 2. And they are fabulous, I might add, because I came up with them so clearly. All right, okay, I should probably get off this because I'm starting to ramble. But if you guys had specific questions, please drop them in now because I'm going to sign off here shortly. I don't see anything let me scroll real quick. Nope, I don't see any questions coming in. If you guys came in late, this was a pretty quick live. Go ahead and watch it from the beginning. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Shoot me a DM. I'm easy to get a hold of, and I just actually want you guys to succeed. Genuinely. And this is going to help you there. So hopefully you enjoyed this. You have a great holiday season, whatever you're celebrating, and I'm here if you need me. Bye, guys.